All right. Welcome back to the new era of the Beat the Odds horse racing show. I am so proud to announce that we have a new co host and one of my best horse racing friends, Kenny Schmidt. He brings in so much knowledge about the sport, better than anybody that I've ever known. We speak daily about horses, and I was getting tired of doing it by myself and striking out with bringing in big names. We had some success, but it was getting a little stale. So I was like, I need to do something. And my first text was to Kenny, and he was so grateful to come on. So everybody meet Kenny, FB winners, and I'm so happy to have him.
I appreciate you reaching out to me. I've been knowing you since you've been a young man, around 16 years old, maybe a little younger. I met you at the fairgrounds. We hit
Yep.
it off. We've been friends since that point. And I'll let you know, I've had many people reach out to me about podcasts and different things. And I'm kind of a lone wolf, but I got high respect for you.
Yeah.
I call you Big T. I know your
Yep.
dad's the Big T and your grandpa as well. Uh, but I want to see you grow as a young man. You're very enthusiastic. You have a passion for the game, and that's why I'm here to help you. I'm exclusive to you, no one else. I hope this can grow for you. I hope we can bring some different aspects to horse racing because there's many podcasts out there. They're basically all the same. And like I told you earlier, we were talking back and forth. It's gonna be short and sweet.
That's
We're gonna
it.
give different nuggets that people don't know about that I've had in my arsenal for many years. And once again, thank you for reaching out. It's an honor.
Thank you to our friends over at SeatGeek for sponsoring today's episode. SeatGeek is the #1 ticketing app for any live events, sporting events on the market. All you have to do is put in your location and it shows you everything in your area. So go check it out. MLB season is just kicking off. NBA playoffs are around the corner. Or just go see your favorite band or person in concert. Go check it out. Download the app. Use code BTO Horse Racing at checkout. And make sure you look for that little green dot that lets you know you're getting a great deal on your tickets. Use code BTO Horse Racing at checkout. Well, I'm so glad to have you. And this past weekend was the Belmont. It was the Triple Crown. So we're gonna go race by race, give a few minutes on each race. What do you think about that Kentucky Derby with Cherie DeVoe being the first female trainer to win the Kentucky Derby, I should say, not the Triple Crown.
Yes, yeah. Super excited for her because, as you know, she winners at the fairgrounds. Our home track, and
Yep.
we've seen her come through the ranks over the last several years. And as you know personally, when we were there, Louisiana Derby Day, I had a big wager on Golden Tempo, and I'm still not happy with the ride Jose gave me. And as we've spoken before, it was wee hours in the morning before I made my selection for the Kentucky Derby this year, and then it was down to Renegade, Golden Tempo, and Virgin Market. And as we spoke prior, I was against Renegade coming out to one hole. Emergent Market, I thought he ran a big Louisiana Derby. I thought it was a better race than the experts were giving it.
Mm-hmm.
And I once again, I is a thing that I talk about emotion and betting. You don't let the emotion get the best of you, and I let it get to me. I went with Emerging Market, and several of my private clients, as you know, you're on the list for many years now. You've seen everything I was writing about Golden Tempo. I was pushing him all through the week up to the Derby, prior weeks, and as I told you, my son thought I had him. My son calls me up, excited, elated, and I had to tell him, no, buddy, I jumped off of him. It was a tough one, but hey, I'm proud of the horse. I remember when he won his maiden race coming from 6 furlongs, and that move he had, he caught me at the wire on a Greg Foley horse that came back and won up at Oaklawn. It was an amazing, the turn of foot that horse had at 6 furlongs. And this year, if the Belmont would have been in a mile and a half, he would have pulled away even further. And I had Commandment, go on record. I had Commandment this year in the Belmont.
Yep.
I thought he had a big shot, but I think Jose outrode JR on the turn, pushed him pretty hard. Commandment got back eye to eye with him, but the last 16th, and really we had the last 16th, he had another gear and pulled away. What do you think about a big team?
I mean, I think you nailed it right on the spot. I mean, we watched him winter all at the fairgrounds to see a curling. win at 6 furlongs. You don't see that often. And he showed a lot of potential from the get-go. And like you blamed it on the ride, and you're probably correct, because he listened to Cherie in the Derby and he said, stay outside. And he did, and he wore down Renegade. And I thought once he ran third in Louisiana Derby, which I guess is stupid. I mean, every year you have horses not win their prep and come back and run well in the Derby. But I'm like, hey, man, this is pretty dumb. He didn't win the Louisiana Derby. I'm gonna get off somebody. But it was all about the ride. And I mean, come from last to first. I mean, yes, it's the Derby. The pace is gonna be hot, but still, that's still hard to do, to come from last to first in the Kentucky Derby.
Yeah, and I think he validated himself coming back, this past weekend at the Belmont, which was running Saratoga at a mile and a quarter. Pace was average at best for those type of grade 1 horses, and still to finish like he did, and and pulling away, like I said, after the wire, he's galloping out strong. I'm looking forward to seeing him. I'm sure he's going to wheel back to the Travers, and we'll have other new shooters coming in there, and other horses that bypass. It's a decent crop. I don't say it's a superior crop, that we've had, over the last 5 or 6 years.
I agree.
But you never know how they're going to turn out. What people don't realize today is everybody makes these quick judgments on horses when they lose a race and or win a race. Is that you got a lot of horses in the Kentucky Derby that's only raced 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
They still got a lot of improvement in them. Renegades had the hoof issues, and all the horses had issues. Puma, he could have been a big runner. He was a closer. He might have ran huge with that pace collapse, that day as well. And he had an issue, and he just came back with a work tab. Everybody makes these quick judgments, and everybody focuses on speed numbers and so forth. And, horse racing is not just about speed numbers. That's what people don't realize. And people are focused on that so much. And Thoroughgraph, Ragozin, Bayer, and many others now out there. Now people are using AI. It's way more than just pressing a button looking at speed numbers. That's a myth to me. I'm an old school handicapper. Read the Deadly Racing Form. I handicap hard. I have angles that I've used for years on spreadsheets in here that I've known trainers that's gave me nuggets over the years. And it's a labor of love, man. I mean, I spend countless hours doing this because I love it. It's a passion to me. It's therapeutic to me. Nothing like cashing a big ticket. Nothing like knowing a horse is going to win and betting him and having him pull away down, So let's see what these horses do when they finish the year out. Let's all hope they stay sound. Eating the feed tongue clean and galloping and working well. And we'll see here coming up in the Travers.
I mean, you had Napoleon Solo. He won the Preakness. That was when he looked back on the turn, I was like, this race is over. And everybody's pretty much pointing to the Haskell, where the B crop, I should say, is going. And then everybody else. And then you got the Golden Tempos heading to the Jim Dandy and the Travers. So we'll just see.
I wonder if is she going to run him 2 more times, Jim Dandy, Travers, and after that, that's going to be a hard campaign. Mile and a quarter. Travers would be mile and a quarter as well. I think the Jim Dandy's a mile and an eighth. I could be incorrect. I'm not sure off the top of my head. But, the Keeneland is his home base. After he left the fairgrounds, he's been at Keeneland. He started, he arrived to her at Ellis Park and trained there. Then, she shipped over to Keeneland with him, and then she wintered at the fairgrounds with him. But he's going to have a break because he can't keep that form cycle this long.
It's true. Because, at the very least, you're going to have all from August to whenever the Breeders' Cup is, either last week of
Halloween weekend.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Last week of October, first week of November.
Yeah.
So basically, he gets 2 months. That's about it.
Yeah. So, does she go to Jim Dandy and the Travers? Does she skip the Travers? Skip Jim Dandy and go to the Travers? We'll see, as time moves forward. I hope he came out the race well. I hope he's, back at Keeneland, nestled in. I'm sure that when she ships up to Saratoga here coming up in July, he'll be up there with her. Then, I think, in my opinion, I think she might skip to Jim Dandy and train him up to the Travers.
Wouldn't shock me at all. Maybe that was a little emotional, say, at first, but she's all about what how the horse is doing.
The only horse that was kind of disappointing on this past Saturday was Renegade. He was a little flat.
He was.
But he took a rough trip. Like we spoke early in the week. He got banged up hard early in that race. I mean, like I told you on the phone, many horses would have got hit that hard. They would have lost all that air, all the lactic acid, and wouldn't have been able to maneuver around the field to get in position to make that massive strong run. Down the lane, only to get nipped by tempo just right at the wire. And he'd had foot issues. Coming into the Derby. We don't know if that's been nagging. Rapoli loves the Belmont. It's his home track. New York. He's a New Yorker. So we don't know if they push him to run there. But I can see him being off for a while. I think he needs some time, and I don't see him running into Jim Dandy. I think they'll train him up to the drivers.
I think so too.
The only another horse that is a wise guy horse, and he worked amazing when they put the hood on him was Chief Wallaby. I'll be honest with you, I never was a big fan of him. I know he was a social media bug, and other people loved him. And you read a lot of these different articles. He was pushed real hard. He's a horse that's, I think, still learning things. I don't think he likes to mix it up. When he don't like to run inside horses, and he don't like to be eye to eye. I think he's got to have the race his way. And when he got in these races here and had to tussle with some real horses as good as him or better than him, which they showed they're better than him. One horse that I always was impressed by was a horse by the name of Catholic Boy. I'm sure you remember him. He's a horse started off on the weeds, then they moved him over to the main track. But when I saw him run as a 2-year-old, and he would mix it up down on the rail, fight between horses. I made a big mark on this horse. And when you see a horse do that can fight and still keep running and don't spit that bit, and that's impressive. And then when he come back and did it on the main track as well, he was a hell of a horse. I mean, he was a hell of a runner.
He was. Yep. I mean, Chief Wallaby, he made the lead, and then he just came over the top over him.
Yeah. They might want to cut him back to flat 8 furlongs, maybe mile 16. I think he's gonna need everything to win in a mile and 1/8. I think it's gonna have to be a perfect race. And Commandment ran those tremendous races at Gulfstream Park. He looked good. He could, be close. He could fall back, and he always finished so hard, so strong at Gulfstream. And he had a bad ride. And I love Louis Saez. He's one of my favorite riders. I nicknamed him Hickory Strong because he's strong as Hickory wood. I love him. And I think he got anxious. As I say, I'm not a jockey. Don't foresee to be a jockey. And it's a cavalry charge. But other than that, Command is still a tough horse. I think he's still got, I still can't believe Commandment ran down the Puma in the Florida Derby. It was unbelievable. I mean, I thought the Puma won the race. Then they put Commandment up. To this day, I've never seen the photo finish of the race, which is kind of odd. But I think it's going to be a crop that's going to get better. I think you're going to see horses trade punches in these races moving forward. The Jim Dandy, the Haskell, the Travers. I think they're going to trade a lot of punches, these horses. I don't think you're going to have a horse run off 3 or 4 wins in a row.
No, it's we don't have that dominant factor, this dominant horse in that crop. They're going to trade blows each and every race for sure.
Correct.
I mean, we saw it. I mean, we 2 out of 3 Golden Tempo won, but still, Commandment was half a length from winning the Belmont as well. So every race, I mean, you can have another horse jump up. You still got the Puma coming back. I mean, it's wide open for 3. I mean, technically not really but I think Golden Tempo is probably going to win 3 over the year. You don't know yet. As of right now, he is, but he's not. He doesn't damn. He's a champion to me.
Right. Totally understand.
Because it's not that crop.
Right.
So the next thing I want to get into is something I'm going to call the claim box, where I'm going to give either a claim or a scratch, where it means I don't want it, I don't believe it, I'm not buying it, I'm selling it. So I'll start off. I'm buying Jose Ortiz as one of the best riders, the best rider in the country, the best Ortiz brother. I'm going to say it. I mean, that move down to the fairgrounds in Kentucky, it changed a lot for him. And that was one of the best moves he could have made for his career, because he was always right behind that Irad Ortiz. right behind his brother. He moved. Now he's in the national spotlight. Derby, Belmont. I like the move for Jose. I'm claiming Jose Ortiz.
I think that's an excellent claim. I agree with you. And I've always had high regards for Jose. He's always been the quiet one that was always in the shadow of Irad. And it showed him bolting away and setting his own presence in life and his own, basically it's hard to move away from your brother. Y'all been together so long and to come down to New Orleans, which fairgrounds is not what it used to be. We all know that. The quality of racing isn't as good as it used to be. It's hard for me to say that. Is been going to fairgrounds since 1996, 30 years this year. Super tough. But hey, it is what it is. Horse racing isn't the same since 1996, but I love it. I'm not going to bash it and bang it up. But Jose, he came down, rode for Steve Asmussen. Now he's been with Cherie DeVoe.
Yep.
And he's picking up other mounts of different syndicates and connexes as well. I agree with you on the claim. He's a hell of a young man. He's a great person, and he's a hell of a jockey too. And my last comment on Jose is he can ride just as good on the weeds as he can the main track.
Yep. I mean, even he got the mount on Always a Runner, and he didn't even ride that horse until the Oaks.
Right.
I mean, first time on the horse, let's go win the Oaks. Okay.
Yeah.
They said she's special. She came back and lost, but still.
Correct.
I mean,
well, old Chad Brown, he pumps his horses up every year. That's just him. Gift to gab, and he sells them, and she won well, and she looked like a totally different filly. Last Friday in the Acorn. But Mark Cassidy, Counting Stars, she looked good. She was working real well leading up to the Oaks as well, and she probably. But once again, these fillies haven't raced a lot. You got races, 4 or 5 races. I mean, it's not back in the day when we had 8, 9, 10 races. We counting the prep races. I mean, these horses have still got a lot in them. They're changing every day. They're still young. They just turned 3 years old.
Yep.
On the claim box on my end, I was high on him. Been high on him. Was super high on him. Made one of my biggest bets in a long time on him in the Kentucky Derby Day. Englishman. I came back and got off of him last Saturday, and he showed me what he was. I knew he was that type of horse. And as I told you earlier in the week, the people that do watch this podcast, I would tell y'all to go back and watch that race. And if you can see the leading up to the gate, Crew Velocity lost his race before the races ran. He had so much kidney sweat coming down the hinds of his legs to his hocks. I mean, it was unbelievable. It was like running water. So if you could go back, I'd highly go back and watch that and not hold that race against him. And if you want to see, the one reason that I didn't know if Englishman could, there was so much race speed in that race that day as well, but Englishmen just got out, ran them off their feet. You had 6 speed in there, which my buddy Jake Ballas owns with Regan Swanbank and them. You thought he'd be up there more, quicker out the gate right there on throat latching them, but man, Englishman was just special. I'm looking forward to see him running over his home track, Breeders' Cup Sprint. I mean, he burns that Keeneland. I have a buddy up at Keeneland, and I call him the Keeneland contact because he don't want to be known personally. But he told me after the Derby, Cherie come right back up there and worked him. He worked a 46. He said, Kenny, man, it looked, you would have thought it was a 48 or a 49, and he couldn't believe it was 46. And, to come after that race, well, he was leg weary coming down the lane in the Pat Mile, big time. And he got spaghetti legs, big time. For her to come right back and work him a 46, and then she just put a maintenance move in him in a 49. Crew Velocity worked 3 times out of that race. And if you go back and watch the Pat Day Mile, Englishman was hardly standing up after the wire, and Crew Velocity galloped all around the bend. It was freakish. I mean, it was freakish. I think he's going to be a 2-turn horse, Crew Velocity. I wouldn't sell him short. He might be a horse that sneaks up and wins the Haskell or the Jim Dandy at a price. Yep.
I think Bob did say, he said he's never running against Englishman again unless it's 2 turns. But I think Crew Velocity is going to the Haskell next.
Yep. I tell you what, he'll probably go off the biggest price he's been in his career. And what's he ran 5 times now since this past Saturday? I think it's only 5 races.
I think it's 4 or 5. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, this horse has still got a lot to improve.
Yep.
And Bob, I have him sharp. You know, he'll
Yep.
probably keep him in Kentucky, sharpen him up down there, and ship him up to Mama. He loves going to Mama Park winning that race.
Loves it. I think he holds the record.
Yep.
Well, that's a hell of a buy. Englishman was that him or Nisos was the performance of the weekend for me.
Agree.
Absolutely. Well, I love both of our claims. We'll revisit those at the end of the year, see how we did. And we're going to end this thing off. We're going to keep it short and sweet. Kenny is the stable male guy. Do you have a horse that you've been following that's going to be running soon that you want to give the people?
Yeah, I do. I have a horse. He's kind of sentimental to me, and you know him, and he's this can be his third race off the layoff. He's running the Monmouth Park this weekend in the Salvatore Mile, and I think this fits him right between the aisles. And I'm talking about old East Avenue. He's running up at Monmouth Park. I think it's race 9. It's the Salvatore Mile.
Yep.
He's drawing the farthest outside post. He's breaking from the 9 hole, which I think is a great post for him as well. I think he runs better outside of horses. I don't think he likes to mix it up inside. I don't think he likes to rail that much. Tyler Gaffleone's trekking back up there around him, and there's not a morning line listed as of this podcast, but I think East Avenue is sitting on a big race. I think you're going to get 3-1 on him, maybe a little bit more, because you got Bishop's Bay in the race. Point Dune, and you got Grande in there. So you got some other horses in there. So he might be 3rd or 4th choice, and I think he's sitting on a big, big race this coming Saturday, buddy.
Let's ride, baby. Let's ride. Let him roll from the quarter pole.
That's it, baby.
Yep. All right. Well, everybody, thank you for listening. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And I'm going to put Kenny's social media in there. And if you want to join his handicapping picks, join for his picks. I'm going to put that plug in there. And thank you for listening. Like, comment, and subscribe.